Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Ponteva Off the Record podcast. My name is Dominik, and today we are talking about a topic that sounds like a conspiracy theory at first, but what it is actually, it is becoming more and more a technical and a societal problem. What we're talking about is the so-called dead internet theory. It is an idea that the internet is no longer primarily shaped by humans, but more and more by bots, automated profiles, and AI-generated content. And who better than to introduce us to this topic than Domagoj Marić, an AI expert specializing in web scraping, natural language processing, and chatbot development. Domagoj, welcome. Great to have you here today with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
To start off, could you explain in a little bit more detail what the dead internet theory is and why is it becoming harder and harder to dismiss it today?
The dead internet theory started as a conspiracy theory in some sort, and it started on different kinds of online forums. People talked about it like it's a meme and it's a joke, but then throughout the years, some things changed. The way we see the internet nowadays changed. Generative AI entered the game, and then we have lots and lots of and more of automation on different kinds of social media platforms and the internet in general. So we had the old golden days of the internet where everything was customizable, everything was personalized, and now everything's like SEO solved and SEO approved, everything's generic and everything's soulless, I would say. But it's not just feels, it's also statistics. Statistics say nowadays that more than half of all bot traffic, of all traffic online is bot traffic, which means that we arrived at the point where it's no longer a conspiracy, it's just fact. We're in the minority nowadays as human users.
It's no longer ours.
Yes, it's no longer ours. Bots are ruling and it's not even like bots and automation, it's also bad bots. So I believe more than a third of all traffic online is bad bots, so bots that misbehave, that are in some sense a cybersecurity risk. So it all changed into a cybersecurity subject and problem, I would say.
Okay. And in one of your talks, you mentioned that this theory feels much less far-fetched than it did, let's say, 10 years ago. So what happened in this process that it became the situation that it is today?
Yeah, it's mostly about the generative AI stuff, because from ChatGPT onwards, I would say, and from the bloom of generative AI, we also had all sorts of new AI generators, and be it text generators like LLMs, but also media generators. So video generators such as Sora AI and Veo from Google, and it's pretty convincing. And because it's convincing, people use it nowadays on social media to, I don't know, to automate the creation of funny animal videos or something like that. And of course, it's all fun and games until some point where it can become misleading and malicious. That's where the line lies between what's funny and fun and entertaining and what's malicious and misleading.
Okay, so you mentioned that, let's say, more than half of internet traffic now comes, let's say, from bots. I know that a lot of profiles on X Twitter, are bots, and a lot of articles on media are AI generated. But how does that affect business, and why should a business leader care about that?
Yeah, one thing is what the statistics say. So it's where we're heading. It shows where we're heading and where the internet is heading. You mentioned the statistics from Medium posts. So Medium had the human ideas motto, and YouTube some time ago had the broadcast yourself. So as I said, the human was in the center of it all. And with X or Twitter, previously was always a bit about politics, let's be honest. And it was politics centered, but it's not about where we are going and where the direction lies, but it's like how fast we're going, we're heading there. So it all went there rapidly. So the whole thing is changing and modifying at a rapid pace, which means that things are soon about to get out of control. And I wouldn't say soon at all. things are right now getting out of control. When you fire up a social media platform, you almost see. I mean, in one of my talks, I also showed how an average social media feed looks like for me. For example, I'm not such an active Facebook user, but then after sometimes when I fire up Facebook, I see the feed and it's like from 6 posts, 4 are AI generated, or in some sense are sponsored posts or pages which the algorithm throws at me. So this is where we're heading, and this is how fast we're heading up there. I would say it's the main problem of it all, not that statistics say this or that.
Okay, I get it. And I feel that most people imagine bots as like obviously fake profiles, but today these bots can become really convincing.
Yeah.
I would say entertaining. That's maybe the problem, and they can even go viral. So what would be one of I don't know, some most bizarre or interesting examples that you've encountered in your career?
I mean, the most famous one is the Lord and Savior, the Shrimp Jesus, which is probably the most bizarre thing that came out of the internet the last few years. And it was just an amalgamation of different things that went into the early generation LLMs and text to image generators. But I wouldn't say that there's some prominent examples which are interesting, but it's more like which trends are there. Because some time ago we had like funny animal videos that were automated. Then at one point in time there were some CCTV videos, like funny home videos or some shocking videos. A tree falls on some bystanders or something like that. Then we have some funny videos where one person cuts a cake which looks like another animal and the animal reacts to it. And then stuff like that. It's just funny to me and very interesting to me to see how the algorithm of the social media platform shapes what currently the generators do. So it's just a cat and mouse game between those two.
I mean, you've mentioned a cat and mouse game, and obviously that kind of content is on social media and it isn't going anywhere. I feel that it's becoming more and more prominent. So, I mean, maybe we could assume that, let's say, those platforms are gaining profit from it. Like, is there a genuine business like incentive for them to get rid of that? So why aren't they getting rid of it? Why is it still there?
Yeah, that's also one question I asked myself a long time ago, even before the whole generative AI thing, and even before the dead internet theory was so serious, I would say, because a long time ago I encountered all sorts of fake profiles, and it was like, oh, okay, they won't get rid of it because it's free engagement, and it always was about free engagement. Why would they remove it? Because free engagement means more users, of course, larger numbers, and if the numbers are boosted, then of course you have more users which come into the platform, the usual FOMO you have on social media. And the question I think here is not if, but when the users will start canceling the platform and just boycotting and just leaving the platform because it's not fun and entertaining anymore. So it's just like it will work for some time. You will have much engagement and ads from it, and of course ad revenue, and how it goes usually with social media platforms. But then at one point in time, we will see a rapid decline, I believe, because it won't make any more sense. So it's just a question how to look at it in short terms or as a long-term game. And usually platforms and big corporations look at it from a short-term standpoint.
So you think in a long term, user will like strive away from that?
I think yes. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. We'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah.
To be honest, because things as they are right now, it's getting very bad.
But what if it becomes more and more convincing, the videos? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the main problem of the whole thing. I mean, recently, the OpenAI platform Sora AI also got shut down because they didn't find any useful thing that they can commit that to. So Sora was just a fun AI generator. It didn't have any, I would say, business purpose as other things by OpenAI, for example, have. So it was designed as an entertainment automation thing. So like automating video content and image content. But if it goes into the domain of again of cybersecurity and some malicious content, then we might have another bigger problem, I would say, when it becomes too convincing, I would say.
Yeah. Talking about that, in one of your experiments you conducted, you showed how quickly and cheaply a bot can be built. What were you trying to demonstrate with that, and what is like the most bizarre thing that you've encountered? I mean,
I wanted to show how low the bar is right now. So the bar of, so from a financial standpoint and from a standpoint of skills needed to automate, to make a commenter bot. So to do a simple bot which just automates the process of going on an article online and commenting on it. So just, for example, if you want to push a certain agenda, be it a political agenda or you're just cynical about a topic, and then you push that agenda through thousands or tens of thousands of comments, how much money should you spend or you must spend to do such a commenter bot, and how much time? And the result of it all was that I didn't spend a cent. So it was like, the estimation was around 10,000 comments for $2 USD dollars, and it was bizarre to see how cheap we can go. So we have.
We can only imagine how good work the ones that are actually paid. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you have that was, I believe, the GPT 3.5. So one of the earlier ones, and it's as cheap as it gets. So it's like millions of tokens for nothing, for peanuts. But as you've said, if you're going a step above it, you can go for even better models, and it's again very, very cheap. And as for skills, again, you can ask your local LLM friend, and he will write that script for you for example, Selenium or Playwright, or some technology which can be used for the web browser automation, and that's pretty much it. That was the whole conclusion of it all, that the bar is very, very, very low at the moment.
So not really expensive and not really a long time needed to build it.
Yes.
Okay.
In a few hours and in a few dollars, you can make tens of thousands of comments on a platform where you have comments and traffic.
Okay, interesting. And as someone specializing in web scraping and data, let's talk a little bit about synthetic content. So, what will happen when the systems collecting data can no longer recognize is the content human generated? So, let's say authentic, or if it is bot generated, what will happen in that moment?
That's one major question currently in web scraping. Usually, when you're going for web scraping, it's like a systematical an automated way of extracting all sorts of info from the internet. And if it's fully automated, then it means that you cannot just at some point jump in as a human user and say, yeah, that's human generated and that's AI. So you need something that's scalable. And right now we do not have a scalable way, which is also cheap, of course, when you scale it up. So the whole thing is a bit dodgy, I would say, because for most use cases where web scraping shines, for example, lead generation cases, or sales prospecting, or price optimization, price intel, or just getting some external data for your AI purposes for training models, wherever you have a use case, it's pretty weak, because you know the proverb, like the saying where data is the new oil, but quality data is quality oil only. So if you have quality data, and if you have low quality data, you'll have low quality oil, which is not that expensive, I would say.
Okay. And one of the terms you mentioned is model collapse. So does it have to do with AI bots being trained on AI generated content, sort of a spiral going. I mean, is that dangerous? Is that a problem?
Yeah, that's the exact thing and the exact problem with getting external data from the web. And yeah, as you said, it's called the model collapse, where, for example, in generative AI models, the new iterations of the model, the new versions will be trained on data which came from the last iterations, from the previous iterations of the model. And then you have a feedback loop, which in this case can lead to worse quality of generated content. And in traditional machine learning, we had a way of dealing with that. We could annotate what in our training data for those models. We could annotate what is synthetic data in our training data set and what's normal human data. But right now we do not have the means to do that because it's out of control. We cannot, especially for example, if LLMs are and they were trained, most of those LLMs that are popular right now were trained on web data. And if those new iterations of the models will be trained again on web data, right now we do not know what percentage even of that web data is AI generated and synthetic. And if it's out of control, then we cannot influence and protect the new iterations against the model collapse. So it's a snowball effect, which we will probably see in the coming years with AI generated content in
so
general.
would you say that model collapse is imminent, or is there a way to stop it, or will it just adapt and we will have, let's say, AI generated content that isn't as good but is still there and people will use it?
Yeah, time will show. Again, if we have some regulations in the future which could influence such things. So if such regulations could turn the wave into now we have this is synthetic content and this is not, and we can do with that, then we can count on it. But I wouldn't say so. Not in the coming few years, I would say.
Okay. And are there some ways for users to better recognize AI generated content? There's the famous M dash that everyone is using, which is actually in English language used very often, but in Croatian it isn't, and now we see it increasingly in Croatian written posts on social media. I mean, are there some, let's say, cues that people can see that the content is AI
the M dash is probably the most famous one, but there are also some which to the human eye are a very convincing thing to say it's AI generated. Probably the most famous one beside the M dash is the negative parallelism, I believe it's called. So it's not just X, it's also Y.
And
I've seen it.
We've seen those,
in various English texts, but also in Croatian. It's not just X, it's also Y. It's such a dramatic but unnatural significance, which is so the impact is very prominent in the sentence, and it's very unnatural sounding, I would say. So that's one way, one symbol of AI generated content. Then again, you have unnatural symmetry. It's the same with visual content. Again, unnatural anything, unnatural symmetry, unnatural smoothness of the skin in people, unnatural anything. But also in text, when you have text, you won't see some smoothness, I would say, but you would see a distribution of words, for example. So when we have a large enough corpus of words from a text, then we can analyze the distribution of the words, and you can see some differences between AI generated things, because AI generated text content won't see very creative words and out of place words, which are just part of how people talk. Everyone talks differently. Everyone has their quirky words, and you won't see such words appear that often in AI-generated content.
Yeah, and all of a sudden everyone's posts are artificially polished, nobody makes spelling mistakes, grammar is perfect.
Yeah, that's the main problem. And then again, with the whole web scraping part and automating how you detect AI content, that's the main problem because you cannot scale it up. There are some service APIs which can do the detection for you, so you're not doing it like DIY style, but then again, when you scale it up, it becomes expensive and it's not viable anymore. So,
Okay. And if somebody listening to this podcast runs a business, what should they do considering this challenge? So, do businesses need to become much stricter when it comes to data and how it is collected?
yeah, regarding businesses and generally data acquisition, I would say one part of it all is regulations, and of course we will see many new regulations from now on. We already are seeing some regulations such as the AI Act from the European Union and all kinds of different others which got inspired by it. But from a standpoint from someone in a business, I would say educate everyone. So educate yourself, educate your employees, because it's not only about SEO approved content and data that's got too generic, but it's also about the malicious part. So it's also you need to educate yourself and your employees about fake news, about synthetic content which can be malicious, which can be about public discourse manipulation, of course. So it's one crucial part is education, and the second part I would say is the evaluating the quality of data acquisition in general.
And on the other hand, what can like everyday internet users do? Is there a way for them to support internet staying and becoming back more human as it was?
I mean, everyone can start by supporting, I would say, smaller communities, smaller creators, authentic content instead of corporations and SEO approved content. Everything that's just there to appeal to the game, and yeah, again, be part of the solution. Take part in content creation yourself. And of course, on the other side, if you see some blatantly AI generated content which can be malicious and scammy, then just indicate,
Flag it,
report it, call out such creators or creators. So yeah, we can start with that, and again, we as data experts or cybersecurity experts can also do our part in measuring the impact and constructing some mechanisms that can help with human validation. So we can start by building platforms which are human only. I mean, it's not a new problem. For years, and also from my standpoint, so from a standpoint of someone who builds web scrapers. So you want to scrape some data, and the platform doesn't want you to scrape that data, and then you have some anti-bot validation systems where you need to verify that your script or you as a client in the web traffic, you are a human user. So those systems exist, but I don't think that they're good enough, or they are targeting things that they should be targeting. So much less targeting web scrapers. Yeah, also from my standpoint as a web scraper, but more targeting the dead internet.
Okay. And for our viewers who watch this episode today, if you would, I don't know, give a message to them, if there will be one thing you would want them to remember, what would that be?
My message would be the whole cybersecurity message, where you need to double check everything. Just like think before you click, as they say in cybersecurity communities. So double check everything. Be a skeptic. Just take a breather before you make a conclusion about anything you read online. And of course, educate yourself, educate the public. Be part of the whole solution.
Thank you, Domagoj, for this insightful conversation. I think this is a great place to wrap up. To our viewers, thank you for being with us in the first episode. Today we talked about AI-generated content, bots, and synthetic content. And I think we can all agree that the dead internet isn't just a theory, and that it is becoming an increasing problem for both business leaders and general internet users. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to follow us for more episodes coming. We'll be covering a variety of topics: AI, software development, business, and in general technology trends. See you next time.